one sometimes finds a young singer who is able spontaneously to produce a sort of a raw, rough chest voice that is loud. How does the teacher get from that to the malleable kind that the two of you are
I think what you have to do is you have to do a series of exercises that take you from your upper middle voice, your head voice, gradually down into the lower voice, crescendoing, coming back up on the same exercise and decreasing the amount of resonance that has come in at the bottom, back up to the head voice, and keep going down the scale. Keep, you know, as if you were going, leaving all of that, what we call weight of the chest resonance down there, and just gradually taking it out as you go back up. I think these exercises have to be really worked to get it all homogenized.
And when you speak of that, I mean, what you just demonstrated here is starting with something that is light, descending and giving it a crescendo that brings in the chest element, and then sort of confirming your own control over that by reducing it again.
That was all done on air, by the way.
Does this relate to the even more basic idea of the messa di voce on a single note?
It's part of it, I think.
What role does that play for each of you?
Well, the messa di voce, first of all, is a term that a lot of people don't even know. I mean, I have to tell this story. Oh, I can't tell the name, but it would be heaven to. I sat with a very famous Italian mezzo-soprano in Chicago about 30 years ago at a dinner, and the term, I don't know how it came up, I said something about messa di voce, and this lady said, that term doesn't even exist in Italian. And I went, whoops, have I done something wrong? Is this something, you know, I said, but it's in all the books of Garcia. And, no, that absolutely, there's no such thing. So.
Well, the such thing that, thank goodness, there still is, that messa di voce comes from mettere, to place or to put the voice, and it's come to be used in Italian vocal training over the centuries as to begin a note softly, swell it out to forte, and return it to the initial softness, and with the caveat that it ought to stay steadily on pitch, and the crescendo should be smooth, and the diminuendo also, and nothing should be sudden or jerky, etc., etc., etc. And it's much easier described than done, but did both of you have that as part of your early?
You bet, and I even had it without knowing what I was doing. From something innate, again, these heavy roles that I was singing in my early 20s, I somehow knew that if I would attack, say a high C, if I would attack it softly and then put the air on it, it was safer, or it felt better, or I got better results, or whatever. That's what I was doing.
And was it also part of your lessons as before you were in your career?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
And how do you account for its near absence in most teaching?
I don't know, I'm new at that game.
I must say that I know, okay, I work with a lot of young singers, obviously, and I know rather few of them that have any regular habit of trying to attain this particular thing. And yet we have centuries of writers saying that it's the basis of everything else.
Well, I mean, I used to do an exercise that was sort of mi-a-o, you used to swell on the note and then take it back again, but all on one note, and having taken a decent breath, I don't know, one did learn to do it, and do it just on single notes as well.
You have to, also, you've got to get mental pictures, you have to get mental pictures of what you want. You want to, sort of how you want the voice to, the sound to go out, how you want the air to start. It's got to be all in your head. Good old Dad, he said singing was 97% brains. I don't know where he came up with that. But I mean, somehow he learned it and learned it as the gospel, and I think he was right. In the end, it really is the head. We know an awful lot of fabulous talents that we finally said, well, she just hasn't got it upstairs. She can't put it together in the head.
How about coloratura agility, which is something that obviously both of you were a part of the revival of that after a period when not so many singers concentrated on it. Is that also something that you must learn in youth, or is it something that people can master when they're already in their 20s?
I'd swing towards the youth.
Me too.
I don't know too many people that have mastered it when they're full-blown singers.
Me either.
Again, this is this mental picture. This is the kind of thing that somehow the mental picture of how those notes look on the page, how they should come out of your throat and everything is something that just, you have to think about.
And do you think that has anything to do with early musical education in the sense of just being used to what a lot of 16th notes are and what they sound like, and perhaps learning them in scales?
You really do have to learn to divide them up into sort of groups of 4 or groups of 6 or whatever they are, and they have to be right spot on. And you have to work on them to keep them within the bounds of the measure of the bars.
Absolutely.
You just have to work
hard
at
work.
it. I mean, one worked at every role one did. One divided up the runs into sections and just worked at them over and over and over again.
I don't know about you, Joan, but I certainly can learn anything by ear if I have to, and I did very much as a child, but when I have to learn some very, very difficult runs or something like that, cadenza, I have to see it. I have to see it on the page and figure it out and just see where all those notes are and exactly how I'm going to work them out.
You have to. You can't just slur over them. And if people are going to sing these big sort of coloratura roles, then all those notes have to be absolutely accurate. Once heard performances of Traviata with the runs in that just slaughtered and skated over. It's monstrous.
Did you have the sense when you were developing as singers of that being an unusual attitude, the attitude you've just expressed? I mean, thanks partly to you too, it's rather more usual now, but I should think it would have been a little eccentric.
What's the point of singing? You mean just singing the coloratura or singing?
It's always Traviata and Trovatore.
That's true. That's true.
Well, they could be forgiven a lot.
Yes.
Where are they today? Or people like them?
Yes. How about the trill?
And we should say, though, that at that point, also an awful lot of caballettas got cut.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Where all the fast notes got going. They were cut in those days.
How about the trill? How does one learn and or teach that if the singer doesn't have it spontaneously?
Well, I mean, I taught myself to trill. I think Joan taught herself to trill. It's just, figuring it out. But I always will say is to take 2 notes and take a half step and you start them swinging. Slowly, slowly, and then start swinging those vocal cords, and then you take the whole note trill, the same thing, and take those 2 notes and start slowly, and then just try to sing faster and get them vibrating. I don't know of any other way to teach it.
That's the way to do it, but I always think that it also brings into play a quick undulation of the soft palate, and that the breath is against the soft palate, and that is where the feeling of the trill goes, not particularly on the vocal cords.
That it flutters.
Yes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Does one get over the dividing line between singing 2 notes separately but quickly and the kind of free motion of the trill by getting faster and faster until you're up to that point, or by letting something happen that is different from just singing the 2 notes?
Well, it certainly comes to the stage where it just flips. It's like singing the acuti. I always say that I project the sound forward for the most of the range of the voice. But when it comes to C sharp D, E flat E, the voice, instead of being projected here, suddenly goes out the back of the top of the head, and it's projected to the back of the hard palate. So those notes, I learned quite soon that the way those notes remained secure was this sort of flip from singing forward all the time. And when you got to the and that to me is pure head voice. That is what head voice is.
And do you feel something similar with the trill, letting it flip in that way?
To me, it always feels that it's the soft palate is doing this, is fluttering, they're the two notes going back and forward, fast, very fast.
And then there's also that sometimes you have to...
Don't try it and choke.
Hit it. Sometimes you have to hit a trill quickly, you know, you have to go, ah, like that, you know. So what you have to do, you have to by then have known that these notes can swing together, and you just got to give it a shot of air. You know, music, ah, that kind of thing. I often
so it's a muscle memory that has been developed.
Oh yeah, muscle memory is real big stuff in all of this.